Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond Life Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Russell Reynolds, and we got an awesome show tonight. We got a great guest tonight. I met this guest at the Missouri State Penitentiary Museum when we came out for an overnight with another team out of St. Louis, and we became friends ever since. She knows my family pretty well. My cousin John Zaffis, who John calls her the warden, and she's here tonight to share her experiences from the Missouri State Penitentiary. She's been there for about 10 years now. She is one of the ghost guides for the overnights. You've seen her on numerous TV shows and YouTube episodes of the YouTuber Paranormal Investigators, like Amy's Crypt and Omar Gosh and them. So, without further ado, let's bring her on, Jenny Switzer from the Missouri State Penitentiary.
Hey Russell, how's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
We got a bunch of people in the chat already. Bishop Ernie Thomas says, "Hey Russ, how you doing?" Good, Ernie. Carol says, "Hi Russell." Joe Aldridge says, "Hi Russell." So welcome in everybody. Well, without further ado, here's Jenny Switzer. We're gonna have her introduce herself and how long she's been at the prison.
Hey guys, my name is Jenny. I have actually lived in Jefferson City pretty much all my life. I started at the prison about 10 years ago, and have remained there ever since. I mean, it has definitely just gotten inside of me over the years. I actually was just there last night, so we are into the season, and so far it's been a great one. We've had some good activity there so far this year.
Awesome. What are some of the spooky history that you've encountered?
Well, I tell you, for me, I thoroughly enjoy talking about the history because you're not going to get that paranormal at that location without the historical value. So, of course, we were the longest continually operating prison west of the Mississippi, operated 168 years. I kind of feel like I have a personal connection because it was just part of our lives when we were kids. We saw it every day right there in the city, but really didn't have any idea truly what was going on in there behind that prison wall. So, it was maximum security. It was one of the most violent prisons in the entire U.S., largest documented for many, many years, maximum from start to finish. In fact, about probably the last good number of years, 50 probably or more, we were called what was level 5. And at that point, there wasn't anything higher than that. So you are talking the most violent, repeat offenders that you could possibly imagine inside that place. Bloodshed everywhere. Time magazine called us the bloodiest 47 acres in America for a reason. And I am still completely in awe every time I go into the place. I cannot imagine what daily life would have been like inside there, living every moment of your life inside that prison. I just can't. It's a pretty spectacular place.
Yep, it sure is. I mean, we investigated it twice overnight, so
Yeah. And the sheer magnitude and size, just like with the overnight, you're not going to run out of spots to be in.
definitely not.
Yeah, you're not talking 2,000 square feet here. It is just monumental. These buildings are Gothic looking. They're built to be intimidating, and they are quite impressive.
Especially 4, with it being the oldest part of it.
Yeah, Housing Unit 4. That one was built pre-Civil War. It dates back to 1868. It is, of course, everybody's favorite. Not just ours, guests, but most certainly the inmates that were there. It held a real sentimental value for them. In fact, that was the last housing unit they emptied out when they moved the inmates out.
Okay.
They saved the best for last. But it was a violent housing unit. overcrowded, packing 6 men in a cell, cells that were meant to only hold one individual, maybe two guards at the most trying to hold down that entire housing unit. And then it was segregated for a very long period of time. That's when Sonny Liston came in, which is just an awesome story right there. And then, of course, it went to what they called an honor dorm. So, paranormally, I'll tell you that one right there. Last year, I had some really big experiences in there last year. And I'll just tell you, we had a housing unit that they demoed, and that was housing unit two. It was one of the red brick ones. And
Mhm.
we all were kind of curious when that was going on, what's going to happen, when that building is gone. Whoever is residing in there is going to have to find somewhere else to go. And I'm pretty sure I think some of them must have jumped over because there's been some pretty crazy things since that building has come down. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it kinda kicked up activity.
Yes, absolutely. We got a lot of construction going on down by the lower yard right now. And, they don't really know what's going on. And I'm talking about, of course, the spirits, the inmates that are there. And I think it gets them a little bit stirred up. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I could see him moving into cell housing 3 right there.
Um, yeah, yeah, I had a really big experience in that housing unit last year that I still just can't even wrap my mind around. So, yeah. Last year was really good. So far this year is too, but I'm telling you last year, and I told a lot of people, I'm honest, couple years before that it was kind of flat in there. It
Mhm.
things were happening, but there wasn't really anything that was just like, holy heck, that really just happened. And last year there were a multitude of things. I had a woman that caught by far the most amazing picture I have seen in there probably ever. Just a random guest on a very small group on a 2 hour tour one night up in Housing Unit 1 in the female department. And so, you just never know. But I think there's obviously something that's got them stirred up a little bit in there.
Oh, yeah. Are
Yeah.
they are they tearing that other red brick building down on the other
You
side?
know, not to my knowledge, but I'll just tell you, we truly don't really know until you pull in down there and something's different. I'll just tell you right now, because when you come in June, you're going to see down in where the lower yard was, where the parking lot is at the
Yep.
gas chamber. From the parking lot where you enter in all the way down to the river on what is Chestnut Street there, the wall is completely gone, Russell. They tore it all down.
Oh, wow.
It it is it is hard to look at. It is
Yeah.
really it is for us, and I get, we're just sentimental about it and that's what it is, but they're just doing some development down there, and they're putting some big state buildings down there in the area to utilize, some land that's just not being used. And but it is different. The whole landscape has changed between housing unit 2 being gone and what they're doing down below. But, progress is good and change is good. So we just roll with the punches and everything will be
Right.
fine. Yep, it'll be all right.
Well, don't worry, when they build that state building, them spirits are gonna go inhabit it, and they're gonna be running
Kind of
partners.
like, yeah, kind of like that federal courthouse across the street. We
Yep.
say that all the time. There's got to be
Oh, yeah.
residual going on over there. Has to be. Yeah.
And didn't that used to be, like, the kitchen and the infirmary and stuff?
Well, what was where the courthouse is there in the cul-de-sac, that was the five-story hospital right there. And we would have loved, we say it all the time. If there was any place we would have died to get into, excuse that pun, it would have been that hospital. I can't even imagine what that would have been like in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
But yes, and then we hear that the workers there in the courthouse, say things that, they'll see things, and we can sit outside like in the front at night, and the windows over there, the lights will just turn on in different windows and they're motion censored. And
Mhm.
there's nobody in there, at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we'll all be like, Okay, those lights just turned on over there in the window. So, all of that is prison land. It all used to be occupied, used. Admin was down in that area for many, many years when I was a kid. That's the only way I remember getting into the
Right.
prison, was down down the hill down in there. So yeah, I mean, it goes a whole lot farther in acreage than what anybody even really realizes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember being there and looking out across the street at those and seeing those lights doing that.
Yes. Yeah. That's pretty weird to see that, and it does. It happens. So yeah, there actually was and our first hospital before that one that was on down farther in the cul-de-sac, like to the right of housing unit one, older one. So again, I mean, stuff was
Right?
everywhere in there. It was everywhere.
Speak
Buildings may not be there anymore, but
speak
yeah,
to Diana, there she is.
yeah.
Welcome in, Diana. He says, "Hi, Russell, tell it to Jenny."
Hey.
Kim Baranski said, "Hi, Russell, hi, Jenny.
Hey.
Investigate MSP with you back in September."
Oh, awesome.
And then she said, "Got." Do many people actually tap into and then communicate with JB down in the dungeons?
You know, I literally thought just last year, and it wasn't JB, I thought about Sonny Liston. I thought, why haven't we ever tried to, truly
Mhm.
talk to him? Now, I don't think he's remained there, but, we've never even tried to bring him back to. I'm going to try to do that more this year. We had some pretty big names inside there in all the housing units. So,
Right,
why not try to get the ones that we know who they are, not that we don't want to talk about every Joseph, and we had Julian coming across. Yeah, we had Peter last night, that his that name was coming across, instead of just random people. I don't know if anybody's ever really tried to connect with JB down in the dungeon. The dungeon's a place that I don't I do not go down there on the hunts very often, and I don't know why. I don't. It's just not a location I tend to find myself going to. Maybe that's by choice,
right.
selective. Um, but yeah, we need to try to connect with the people that we know were there, and I tell you, he'd be a good one. We know he's got stories to tell.
I actually did when we were there with the Devil on the Run tour. We did the message
Okay.
down in the dungeon, and we didn't use the spirit box. We did our abilities, our sixth sense, because I've also got abilities, and
Mhm. Mhm.
I was picking up fire.
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, it's
And
funny you say that about just the abilities, because I actually decided that last year too, and I've told guests this year. I, I'm going to lay off the equipment, and the electronics, and
mhm,
just get back to just going in somewhere and just sitting down and listening and
yep,
watching and feeling it. And I don't know, I think sometimes we spend too much time watching the electronics
yep,
and missing everything that's actually going on. So yeah, yeah, I got that same thought process right now, Russell. We're on the same page, dude.
yep.
Yeah.
Then I picked up, Cell 21, and I was able to confirm it with Wade. That's where Nesper housed all their stuff, is in Cell 21, and that
In four.
yep, and Cell House
Yeah.
21, and that man that was in there, the spirit of him, he was aggravated. He wasn't happy that they were there housing stuff in their his cell, so he went down to the dungeon where it was quiet.
Oh, okay. He just like, okay, fine. I'm just gonna go down here till y'all are done. Yeah.
Yep, and then
I've
picked up on leftover residual from the haunted objects they had in there.
Oh, yes. 21. I may have to go in there and see what happens in there, 'cause I don't know. I don't know if I want residual from, all those little things they brought. That was such a cool event.
Oh, yeah.
That was so cool. Yes, that was a really good time. Awesome people, and they brought some really cool stuff. We'd love to have all that back in there again. Yeah.
I'm sure that he was talking about it. I was talking to Dan about it, so
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll work on them
Absolutely. Make
since I'm
sure it's
related to all them, so I'll work on them.
I say make sure it's the right weather, pick a good month. Pick a good month. Yeah. June for the upcoming I'm going to just give a little shout out. We got our book signing event coming in June that you'll be coming down for, and that'll be a perfect weather month. So,
Yep.
we're excited for that. Can't wait to see how that turns out. We
Yeah,
don't
that
really know, it's been kind of a secret. We don't really know a lot, so that'll be really cool to see that. So, yes.
I heard he worked really hard on that. He spent quite a few weeks in that prison.
It was about 8 solid weeks, and I mean, he was even coming in sometimes in the daytime, when the day tours were going on. Any minute that he could get that he could go in there, he was
Right,
in there. So yeah, it is going to be really cool to see how that turns out. I told him, I said, I hope he doesn't kill me off, like in the first 2 chapters or something. So I
right.
don't know. Yeah, yeah.
The prison's actually gonna make it into my book too.
Oh, yes, perfect. I love it. I know. I'm excited for that too. So,
Yeah, that should be out probably the middle of summer.
okay, awesome. Very good. Very good.
So, that's my deadline. That's what I'm pushing for.
Okay. Well, you'll get it. You'll make it.
Oh, yeah.
You'll make it. Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, that was a good event with Nesper there. Did you hear what my dad did in the lot?
No. No.
They brought that girl
Okay. I had heard something, but I didn't really hear what happened.
they brought that girl and she had that POTS disease, and she got drained from Nesper's items being there, and then from a lot of the spirits in the prison. Her body was going into shock, and they thought they were gonna have to call the ambulance for her. And my dad said, "Leave her here with me and let her sit with me." And my dad put some holy water on his hands and started doing some prayers with her. And he had a cleansing medallion that he wears. He gave it to her, and she snapped right out of it.
Wow.
And they seen this
Wow.
big white glow go around him. All the Get Haunted guys were looking and seen this glow.
And then she was fine.
He was fine right after that.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, I think I was out front when the commotion
Mhm.
was going on, and I never got the chance to ask anybody what actually
Yeah,
was happening.
that's what happened.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. We had a young lady Saturday night over in Four that she was with her parents, and she had to leave that housing unit. She was physically ill, had to go out front. She finally came back around where she was able to, go on and finish the tour. But I was kind of concerned about her because she had been out there for quite some time, and I'm thinking, oh man. But I mean, she snapped out of it. But okay, maybe housing unit 4.
There
Hmm.
was there was another lady we had that night we did a cleansing on. We were up in the women's part with, Candy Slater and them,
I love candy.
and we were doing a burst EVP session and a spirit box session at one time, and both were picking up the same conversation,
Oh yes.
and it was a woman inmate that was having an affair with one of the guards,
Oh.
and he threatened her that if she said anything, he was gonna kill her. Well,
Wow.
he threw her over the rail,
Oh, wow.
and
That's wild.
the woman that was talking to her went into one cell by herself with the spirit box, and then when we took a break, getting ready to go on free roam, I got looking at her. I was like, "Are you okay? You don't look very good." She's like, "No, I don't feel right and
Mhm.
feel like something's bothering me." I was like, "Okay,
Yep. Yep.
you need a cleansing."
Yep. I tell you, I tell people all the time, Housing Unit 1, people do not give that building the credit it deserves.
Yeah,
We have had some things going on up in there. The sounds in that building, just the random tapping, had the group last night said they were hearing female voices. Um, Again, people
right.
don't go in there enough. They all want to go to death row. They all want to go to the dungeons. And I tell people all the time, you kind of got to think outside the box in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's other places to hit that are
Yes.
really active.
Yes. Go to that spot that nobody else is going to think about, for one thing. I mean, less people, of course, the better. But I have had some super big experiences up in Housing Unit 1. It's one of my favorite spots.
Kim said we heard a lot of disembodied voices in Building 1.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I said lots of noises in one. We upstairs in that major's office area, and this was years and years ago. Big event group, and they were running a spirit box up in there. And Russell, I'm not kidding, it's probably what up in there, maybe that one, you go in and there's the first room, and then there's another, and we were in the back when it's maybe like, 12 by 12 or something. It's not very big. And there were probably 30 people in there and just stuffed. And we were like, everybody amazed at what was coming through that spirit box in there. And it was just like, this room of all places, why? Don't know.
Right?
There's no reason. There's no rhyme or reason for it in there. I'll tell you, last night I had something happen. We were down on in 3D last night. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love 3D.
Oh, okay. It's a love-hate relationship for me, For all of us, it's a love-hate thing. I tell people all the time, it's not the going in down there, it's the coming out part. It's the coming back up and out that I
Mhm.
don't like. So we were down there last night. Again, we had this group of high school kids, and this group I think they've been coming in for about 5 years. It's kind of like their senior school trip, and they
Yep,
come. They started doing a 2-hour tour, and they've slowly graduated and figured out the 5-hour hunt is the best way to go. And
right.
so we went down there last night. We got out some equipment, and went out with them and had a REM pod down there, and I've got one of the cigarette boxes. I finally got that thing to go off last weekend. I was starting to think it was never going to happen, but we were standing down there last night. We were running ghost tube apps, and things. Had a cat toys, and all of a sudden, I am just it was just the faintest whisper in my right ear of my name, and I whizzed around, and the kids are standing there, and I'm like, "Did you please tell me you just whispered my name in my ear?" And they're all like, "No." And I'm like, "Oh my God, oh my God." Back by the shower. And I have had so many weird things back there by that shower on that back end down in there. I got poked. Actually, I'm gonna call it a jab. It wasn't no little poke. It was full on in my back. 2 years ago down there, I just screamed out loud. It was like, okay, I am out. Somebody needs to escort me around the corner because I don't want to be down there anymore. It last night, that whisper in my ear, that was pretty cool. So, when things like that happen, you're like, wow, all right, that
Right.
was cool. Did that really happen? And nobody else hears it, so of course they're looking at you like you're crazy, you're
Yep.
making that up. That did not happen. And you start second guessing yourself because again, I turned around, like a couple minutes later, and I'm like, "You're sure you did not whisper in my ear?" And the kid's like, "No, lady, I didn't, So it was like, "Okay, okay, that was weird. Yeah. Yeah.
I know my dad had an experience when we were there, and he was sitting in the lobby there, right where that is closed off where that front gate is in that lobby right there.
Mhm, mhm.
He was watching movement in there, and
Okay, so, like, across from him, like, if he's sitting on the be
must
well, first off, I'm just gonna tell you flat out, that lobby area and where we kinda hang out, back up in where the cashier is, I have had some of the freakiest things happen in those 2 areas at any time of the day or night. That was a very active location as far as
mhm,
activity with the inmates. It was a hub, so to speak. You got the
yep.
control bubble and everything. All right, so speaking of that barred off area, the door, closed door that he was seeing. So you haven't been since like last fall.
Now,
Okay, so we opened that area up back
oh,
there.
nice, because
Yeah.
I was saying something to your one tour guide about it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just tell you real quick. When they were demoing the red one behind three, housing unit two, and they took housing unit three away from us.
Mhm,
It was sometime in September, and here we are. It's the height of our season, October, and they have taken away the biggest housing unit that we had, the state, because they were fearful that that building was right behind, something could happen, safety
right,
first. Okay. So we were again, telling guests constantly, sorry, can't go in over there tonight. Kind of like when we didn't have four after the tornado, for three some odd years. And so I just got tired of it. I'm like, we're the ones that are having to look at these people in the face all the time and let them down.
yeah,
And so I just called the boss and said, "Look, I need something. We need to give the guests something else." And she's like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Well, I want to get back in there." She's like, "That's fine." So I'll just tell you, and anybody who's listening right now, if you come now, we will open that up. And what is back in there is uh, inmates who were on punishment did not go to the normal visiting area where you actually, were you didn't have contact, but where you're sitting with your family. So
right,
back in this area is a little skinny little hallway, and it has the booths like the plexiglass with the phones and everything back in there. They are so, so cool. And, they're pretty raw. They haven't had access for 20 years. They've only been open since November of last year. So really now only 3 months worth of people going back in there. Well, we got a second spot open, and that is when you are going down the hall, past the souvenir to go upstairs into one. There's that door at the end of the hallway right before you go up the stairs. Well, there's one on each side. Well, the one that's on the right hand side, you can go up there now because upstairs up there, yeah, is the major's office. And so you go up there and it's like this little octagon room, but it's got like a 180 view of the whole back, of the prison. And last year we had a really big event in there that we did ourselves for the 20th anniversary of the prison shutting down. And I was up in there. It was the first time we had these two locations open. And we had a cat ball session, a cat toy session.
yep.
And it was awesome. We had four of them. And I just asked, I said, it'd be really cool if you could just, light them all up at once. Three of them went off. I thought, okay, three out of four wasn't bad. The guests loved it. But again, a location that nobody's been going in for 20 years. So, yeah, when y'all come back, you'll have to hit those two spots for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
I wanted to see if you remember this picture.
Okay. Dude, I just saw you flash it up a while ago. Yes, I remember that picture. Yes, I'm telling you, it looks just like him. That is so wild, Russell. It looks just like him. I just don't even think you could deny that at all.
Nope, and I've actually got a picture of his, his mugshot.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I talk about him a lot, on my tours. He was just an evil,
Oh, yeah.
evil individual. Yeah. But that right there, truly the resemblance, yeah, it's pretty uncanny off that seer. It really is. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that mugshot. Yeah,
That's
look at that.
and that was captured in the museum.
That's right. I was going to say you were in that back room.
Yep,
The riot room, I think, is where you were when you took
yep,
that.
yep.
Yes. I had a couple guests come in there one time, again, many years ago in the museum, and I happened to be working in it on a Saturday, and they were back off in, somewhere, and they started using a voice recorder. And I'm like, okay, wow, I've never thought about using equipment in the museum. Why haven't I thought about this before? And they left out, leaving for the day. Literally, like 20 minutes later, they came busting back in the museum, all excited. And they're like, you have got to listen to this. Put the headbutt or the earphones in my ears, and they got Walter just as clear as a bell. And Walter's the guy that they went after during the 54 riot that they killed, on death row. It was like, wow, that was pretty cool. And again, never thought about doing anything in that museum before.
Well, you figure all their artifacts are shanked and all their
Oh,
weapons are up there, so they're attached to all that. Their energy's all attached to that.
yes. And for a time, that area where the museum is, I was told when the warden actually was living upstairs, he had, of course, inmates coming over, working, butlers, whatever, gardening, whatever. And they would be able to go downstairs down there, like, take a little break, have a cigarette. Maybe if they weren't feeling well, you go down and lay down. So you had inmates downstairs in that area. So it's like, I mean, it makes perfect sense, of course. Oh, God, speaking of that warden's house, upstairs in that warden's house, I tell you, that creeps me out. That house.
Oh, I
Yeah.
bet.
Oh, it just does. It makes these weird noises all the time when you're in there by yourself. You constantly get the feeling that somebody is looking at you. You catch things out of the corner of your eye. I'll just tell you, I am a wearer of many hats. I'm a single person and I like things. And so I have a lot of jobs. And so I clean the museum and the warden's house. That's one of my weekly things. I cannot count how many times and I'll be upstairs in there and literally I stop and I'm looking over like something is moving over there. It's just you can see it, you feel it. And again, it's all connected to that prison, every bit of it up there within that city block, in my personal opinion. It's all got that residual to it. So,
Kim asked Jenny, "Have you talked about the pick with the hands to the bars in Housing Unit 1?"
oh, who is this and how do they know? No, but I will. I have been talking about that literally every time I'm in there since that photo was taken. It was August last year. Russell, I'm telling you right now, I'll have to show it to you when I see you in June. It was an August night. It was hotter than Hades. You know what it's like in there in August.
Yep.
And, some times we don't even go up in one in the female because it is just so hot up there. But on a tour, we're going. We're only up there for a few minutes, so we'll all be able to deal with it. And it was a very small group. I had like 11 people. I mean, it was a small group. And I took them around to the side where the blind cell is, and I had them on the wall, kind of, talked to him for a few minutes, turned him loose to look around. And I started walking down toward the stairs, to where that you go up, and I was going to just walk on around the corner. And I got down and I heard, somebody call my name from behind me. And I turned around. It was one of the guests. And it was an older lady. this wasn't a young person. She actually was there with her daughter and then her mother. So it was three generations of women, which I thought was totally cool. And she's like, "Can I show you this picture I just took?" And I said, "Sure." And Russell, she turned her phone around and I looked and I went, "Oh." I said, "Okay." I said, "That's kind of neat." I'm like, "What is that?" So of course, you zoom in,
Mhm.
and I kid you not, it is a woman's hand. You can see the dimples in her knuckles. It almost looks like she has red fingernails, but I don't think it's red. I think maybe it's just the photo. But she is inside a cell that is the door is shut, bar is shut, and she is reaching out.
Mhm.
Her arm is going through the bars. I mean, it is transparent. You can see it. You can see her arm to the shoulder where she is back inside the cell. I mean, it is by far the most amazing picture I've ever seen caught in there. And again, you're talking about a 55-year-old woman that just had her cell phone standing up against that wall and went click,
Right.
and that's what she caught. There's also something like coming from the cell next to where the female's hand is.
Mhm.
It's just this. Can't figure out what it is, but it's this squiggly looking thing. I don't know. It is by far a really cool picture. Brian is using it in the book. He got
Oh,
permission. Yeah, he got permission from the woman that took it to put it in there. It is very very cool. We have had quite a few really good photos caught in there. Last season, there were two really good ones caught over in Housing Unit 4 last year by guests too. I tell people all the time, I've been in there 10 years. I've probably taken 10,000 pictures on my cell phone and I've never caught a darn thing. See, I'm just not lucky.
well, we
I
did
don't. I'm like, why
did,
don't I ever catch anything?
last year down in 3D with, Next of Kin was down there,
Yes.
and we were doing the human pendulum, and we were communicating with a woman down there,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and she only wanted to talk to one person, and that person was me. She remembered me from being there the year before,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to talk to me.
Well, I tell people all the time, I mean, myself, and it's really started happening even more frequently in the last couple seasons where my name comes across a lot, because they do know us. We're in there all the time.
Yeah.
We have another assistant there. You know him. I don't know if you'll know his name, but it's James Barker. He's a short little guy.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, he was with us last night when we were down there in 3D, and I heard my name whispered in my ear. And when we got down there, and I'm like, let's put James in the shower. And so Lisa, one of the other, she's like, "Hey, Ghost Bait, come here," because that's what we use,
Right.
because they love him. They say I have heard his full name come across. It's not just James, it is James Barker. They are very in tune to him for sure. But I tell people that all the time. I mean, they know our voices. I think they like the stories we tell about them, and sharing them with other people. I tell people that too all the time. You kind of got to put it on a personal level in there. I think they respond better to that kind of thing
Mhm.
than, to go in there and try to, what did you do? Did you kill somebody? Well, yeah, they probably did if they were in there, but, put it to a personal level and they're going to respond a little bit more. They just want to tell who they are. They want to tell their story.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know when we first went down into the dungeon the first time we were there, we captured a woman yelling "hello" in the dungeon.
Yes. Yes.
And
My very first experience ever, ever when I went in that facility was walking up those stairs coming out of that dungeon. And me and a guest, at that time I was an assistant, and so you're the last one out. And we were both walking up side by side up those stairs, and from behind us, we kind of both heard this, like clear. And I mean, we both looked at each other, and it was like, okay, yeah, we both heard that. That dungeon down there. Well, we know there are several spots in that prison that are just a little bit more high level of activity, and of course, that's one of them. It's one of them.
Well, when we were first there, we ended in the dungeon, and we had a music box sitting in the doorway of one of the cells, and then we lined motion lights all the way up the hallway, and, I was standing by the last motion light, and I was playing like I was a guard and telling JB, "You're in the wrong cell, you need to come out of there," and the motion of him, he kicked the music box off and then went each light till he stopped at me, and he was standing in front of me, and we had a new girl with us, and she started freaking out. It was her very first investigation, and
It
he
might have been her last too. I mean,
he was like, "That motion light in front of him went off, and he's not even reacting to it. He's not moving. He's standing there."
that's the idea.
It's like,
Yeah.
"This is what we do."
But you asked me that as we were, waiting to go live, and I'll admit there are some times in there, even still, it's just like, what am I doing in here? I must be out of my mind. But it's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
I tell people all the time because, again, I am very honest. I am tired. I tell people I was 10 years younger when I started doing that job too. It makes a big difference. I work a full-time job. We all do, most of us that are there at night, and you're tired and you're going, "Oh man, I just don't want to go tonight." And then you get over there and it's like, "Okay," it all kicks on and you're like, "Yes." That the tiredness is gone. It gets to be where, you're at 2:30 in the morning and you're about ready to fall asleep, and you're got, "All right, we're going to go out one more time," and then everything starts happening and you're wide awake. I tell people
yep.
that all the time. It always starts happening right at the end of the night.
Oh,
They
yeah.
like they save it and they're like, "Okay, yeah, we're going to make you want to just keep on sitting here." And they do. Yes.
We had another girl with us when we started off in Cell House 4, and we were just standing in the lobby part. She kept seeing a shadow darting in and out of the cells on the right-hand side up on the second catwalk.
Mhm.
So I told her, I said, "Keep an eye on it. I'm gonna head up there." So I went up there. I started pacing the catwalk back and forth, and I was acting like I was a guard, just walking back and forth. And I got above him, behind him, and I hear her yell, "God damn it! Something grabbed me by the leg."
Oh, mhm.
And
Yes.
prior to that, we ate dinner with them at the one restaurant there in town, and my dad told her, "You're gonna get touched tonight."
Oh, okay. Okay.
And sure enough, it
And
happened.
she did.
And I told her, I said, "Don't freak out. She's a colored girl," and I says, "You're in a black cell house.
Mhm.
These
Mhm.
men haven't seen women in years, so to
Oh,
them, you're a good-looking
absolutely.
girl. So
Mhm.
you get a woman that goes into that cell house, them men are gonna be all over it."
Absolutely. I mean, they're just people, so to speak. I'll tell you, last year, sitting in four, we had a really good experience. Pat Duncan, who's an assistant, and Pat was JCPD for about 20 years, and now he is a deputy marshal. And so he has got that law enforcement thing, written all over him. And they are aware when there is a law enforcement presence in there. They tend to mess with them. We've got the security officers that come in with us at nighttime. They mess with them all the time. So last year, toward the end of the season, I think it was, me and Pat were in there on a hunt, had a group sitting in the chairs, in four. And Duncan has always got a pair of Oakleys on he's got a bald head. They're always on his head, even if he's got a stocking hat on in the winter, if it's sunny out, okay. And I'm sitting next to him, he's on my left, and all of a sudden, Russell, his glasses just went flying off of his head, landed in his lap, and one of the lenses just popped out. And I was like, okay, how did that even happen? I mean, there was nobody sitting behind him, nobody even remotely close. And the really big kicker was that the lens popped out. You know,
Mm,
Oakleys are almost indestructible, and
yeah,
they landed in his lap. I mean, they didn't hit the floor or anything. That was the same night a guest who was sitting in the chairs farther back, woman, just put her cell phone up towards that first catwalk there, like right above where the chairs are, where, like, the altar table and short door number 7, and just took a couple photos. And I've got this one too. She caught something up there on that catwalk, and it is kind of crouched down on all fours. It is very creepy looking, and it's just up on the catwalk looking down, at everybody sitting in
yeah,
the chairs. Things have been different in there as of late. So I can't wait for everybody to get in there this summer. We're just getting started this season, so
yeah.
it's just now starting to get ramped up. I truly think the cold hinders the activity a little bit in there. I may be, that just may be me thinking that. I don't know. But the weather starts warming up, I think that's when things start heightening in there a little bit. So I'm hoping that this season starts the way last season ends
Right.
and
Yeah,
just keeps on going from there. Yeah. I said we're due a good year. It's been, well, that tornado was in 2018, and then it was COVID after that, and then the demolition after that. We've struggled. It's been tough, but we've persevered and kept on going. And this is the first time we've been fully functional with everything open again, plus a couple of those new locations
yeah.
in going on 6 years. So I think it's going to be a great season. Yeah.
Diane said, "Cat awesome."
Ah, Patossum. We call him Patossum. That's what she nicknamed him. We say all the time, I literally just said it the other day. If we could clone him, I would make 3 or 4 of him, because he does everything exactly like he's supposed to. You never have to think about it. Yeah.
Right.
Patossum. That's exactly what we call him. That's
I,
great.
I know when we first went, the one cop that they had there, I think he retired now.
Dappin,
Yep, Dap, and he was sitting.
Lil Short.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he was
Okay.
sitting on the bench. He scared a bunch of the investigators. He was just sitting there real still on the bench, and that's all you see is his black outline. We come out of 4, and we're walking there, and,
And there he is.
"Is that a shadow figure?" I'm like, "No, I guarantee you that's the deputy that's the
I
cop right there."
I tell the guests on the hunt that I'm like, and there are a couple of them, like Chris Joyner. He does it intentionally. He will put his back up against the wall by the stairs on 3D and wait for me to bring guests around on death row. And then he's just standing there. And I'm like, I've told him, you're going to get throat punched one of these days, because he's just this black looming figure. So I tell guests all the time, you probably better be sure it's not one of them, before, because they're just standing there lurking in the darkness. Like, how do you even do that? Why would you do that? Because they think it's fun. But I'm telling you, when those guys started coming in, things changed a little in there. Activity
Oh,
changed a
yeah.
little bit, and yeah, we
They don't
have
want
such a
law
good
enforcement.
time. Well, they don't want a cop in prison. That's exactly right. But we have a blast with those. Well, I was going to say guys, but there are a couple ladies, female officers that come in now over the last few years. So, and it's the same with them, kind of like with anybody. If it's not for them, they'll quickly just not come back, but the ones that are into it, they are right out there with the guests, hunting and having a good time. So, yeah, they just make it even better. Make it even better.
I know that one you had there, he was a younger, tall guy when Nesper was out there. He was tagging along with us.
I
It was
think that might have been Levi.
I think that what yeah, I
I
think
think
he
that might have
really
been
yep.
Levi. Uh-huh. Yeah, he's a good one. They're all good. I said they're just great, and they just enhance what is already going on in that place, you know? They do. They really do.
Sheila said, "Doing us proud."
Yay! Thank you, boss. Jumping on.
But, yeah, he was pretty good. He was telling us about some of his paranormal experiences being a cop and
Mhm.
stuff in his house that he had, and
Oh, okay.
he was talking to my dad and I about it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and I'll tell you, they mess with them in there. I know Les Martin, who Les started out, of course, as a police officer coming in, and then he did about, I don't know, we talk about this all the time, you know, you time goes by and it's like,
Yep.
how many years has it been? And he did an assistant for, wow, I don't know, I'm gonna say 5, 6 years or more, and he has kind of taken a year sabbatical this year. The wife wants him to do a little bit more with the family, but he
Mhm.
was in there once, and I think this was when he was still a police officer, and I was not there, but I've heard the story many times. He down on death row, and something actually lifted his keys off his belt, and they just went flying, you know, down the walk, and it's like, what the heck? And a lot of them came in as non-believers, and that changed real
Yeah.
fast. Real fast. Yes.
I love
Les
making
Martin.
non-believers believers.
Oh, absolutely. And Les, he was full bore into it from that day forward. Yeah. Well, you know, once you have that switch that, you know, it's
Yep.
like you have something happen, then it's like, okay, you cannot get enough after
Right.
that. You want something else. Yeah, it's like a drug. It's like a drug. You want more.
Well, that's like when we the Get Haunted event, we were up in the women's part after we were getting ready to switch off. We got down at the bottom of the stairs, and they had left their SLS camera down at the corner down there. Well, the few of us seen a shadow peek around the corner. It just kinda went like that,
Mhm.
shot at us, ducked back, so we all ran down there after it, and Candy's yelling at us like, "We gotta switch out." I'm like, "There's a shadow down
We
here."
gotta go. I know people at guests are like that. We're like, we'll hear something, and I mean, we're like taking, let's go, and they're like, wait, you're running toward the sound. Shouldn't like we be running the other way? And it's like, oh no, you need to
Yep,
go, you need to run toward that
yep.
sound. You got to figure out where that's coming from. I tell you, we had something else happen last night. And again, the things that are happening in there right now, they're just weird. I mean, they're just things you just after they happen, you go, wow, that did that really happen? We there were like again had this group of these high school kids, and you know they latch on to us and they're okay, let's go. And so we were heading down into 3D, going down the stairs, and there had to have been a group of 20 of us between our people and the kids, and we're all going down the steps, and we've got those two motion lights that
Yep.
shine down. Okay, well, we didn't turn them off, but the light didn't kick on. So I thought in my mind, okay, you know, Barker unscrewed them or something. Or and Lisa said afterwards, you know, she thought the same thing. She thought, well, I guess somebody turned them off. And we go on down and we have our little session down there, and we're all coming back up and the light kicked on. And I stopped and I went, wait a minute. That light did not kick on when we all went down the stairs.
Right.
Why did it kick on when we just came up? There is no rhyme or reason for that at all, but it most assuredly did. And then everybody at the same time were just standing there on the steps, and then they're like, wow, you're right. That light did not turn on when we went down. And we're like, no, it didn't. See, because I mean, we pay attention to things like that. Guests don't. They don't really understand and they don't realize there's a motion light there. But it was so strange, just weird, weird stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
Good, good weird though. It's a good weird. I got to point that out. Good weird. Is there such a thing? Is that a real term? Good weird. It is now.
Diane says, "I swear the guys know when the group of kids are there."
I'm telling you, girl, and it was the same teachers that have been coming. We just had a great time as always. To me, the kids when they come in there, it is a different energy. I love the kids that come in.
Mhm.
They are always stoked, they are excited, and I think that just steps the activity up. I tell people that all the time too. You know, if, don't be a Debbie Downer. I mean, that is not, what's going to get that activity rolling. You need
Yeah.
positivity and being upbeat. Um, and so they always seem to get things kicking off in there. Me and Diane know that all too well. We've
Oh,
had we had we had a good time with them back in 2020 with our first visit with them. And that said, it's been great with those kids ever since. I was excited when they were coming again.
I know when we were there, we captured Amy's from Amy's crypt on the
I know you did. I remember, and I told her that when she came, I said, I think they already know you're coming. And she was like, oh, okay. I don't know if that's good or bad. But yes, that was really cool. That was really cool. Because that is not a name that you get in there very often. I mean,
no,
Amy, no. I mean, to be honest, not many female names come
right?
across in there at all, really. So Amy, yeah.
And how compelling it was caught on one of KD Stafford's reverse ink sweep box that he made.
Okay.
So everything is swept in reverse, and we were running it in shortwave, so all you hear is white noise.
Oh, wow.
So we captured it on that, the reverse sweep.
Okay. And I said it was literally within like what, 2 weeks when they were
Yeah,
coming. So no doubt that's who they were talking
that
about.
was that was in
Absolutely.
death row when we captured.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, when she was there, I was like, girl, they said your name. I said they knew you were coming. Yes.
Diane says, "Ha ha ha! They were doppelgang."
Right, right. Oh, them doppelgangers. I
Oh,
tell
she
you
said
what.
doppelgang bang.
Ah! Hey, that's a good term. We're going to use that one going forward. We've just come up with a new paranormal term, a paranormal slang, doppelgang banged. I like it. And I tell you, that has happened in there with them kids. Boy, that was a wild night. That was a wild night. Me and Diane, we'd say all the time, I wish we would have kept journals, Diane in there, same amount, 10-year gig, a lot. You think you're going to remember everything, and I probably don't remember three-quarters
Right,
of the stuff that has happened in there over the years. The little things, so many little things, until somebody says something, and then you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So, I mean, I guess it's never too late to start, but shoot. 10 years, that's a long time to go
oh yeah.
back. Yeah, lots of stories to tell.
I know Diane showed us when we were first there where that inmate had gotten stabbed in front of the guard, and the guard couldn't do nothing about it. We had a REM
Mhm.
pod sitting there, and it would not shut up.
Yeah. That's a personal story for Diane. Yeah. Mhm.
And, I know we went up into the catwalks up there, and you could hear sound like the cell doors were shutting in front of us, and we're staring at them, and each one of them were all still open.
All open. Yeah. See, that happens there in one, constantly hearing what sounds like doors opening or shutting. And then of course by the time you get up there, there's no way you would ever be able to tell which
Right.
one it was anyway. But yes, absolutely.
And
It's
I know
it's it's just never a dull moment. I tell people too, it's never the same thing in there. It
no,
just
and
is always changing.
even for us being there twice and investigating, it was something different.
Different. The feel can even be different, from one night to the next, depending. I don't know why. I mean, I'm sure I'm not supposed to know why. But yeah, it's a place, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite places to investigate for sure. I
Awesome.
brag about it all the time. I tell people, "If you're in Missouri, check that place
You
out."
gotta go. You gotta go. We love having you guys come all the time.
Oh,
June's
yeah.
gonna June's gonna be here real quick. My God, that is less than a month and a half.
Yep.
That's like 2 months away. Are you kidding? Wow. Time goes by too quick.
Oh, yeah. And it's
I'm
amazing they remember
excited.
me too coming there, and I'm sure they'll remember my dad. This time he'll be able to
Oh,
walk around,
yes.
so
Yes. Good. Good. We'll get him around a little bit in there this time.
yep, he got his knees taken care of, so he's good to go.
Awesome. Yeah, I know last time he had to spend most of his time in the lobby, but you know what? He was great entertainment for all them guests. They loved talking to him.
Oh, yeah, and when he couldn't go up to the female wing, he stayed in the lobby with Candy Slater's husband, and they were doing stuff, and that's when he was seeing those figures over in there.
Exactly.
So he told them to, take his meter and put it over there, and so he did, and things started going crazy, and then he looked over at my dad, seen that white light go around him, and he ran out of there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep, Candy, she came up to the museum too that weekend, and I happened to be up in there and got to talk to her a little bit more. Love her. She's a good one. She's a good one. I hope she gets to come back this season again too.
Yeah, I don't
So
know if she's coming with Get Haunted or not. She may
I
be.
don't know either. I wonder how ticket sales are. I was thinking about that today. I don't know if the boss knows. Probably not, because I know they're doing their own thing. I don't even know how many they are selling for the event, but it that's going to be great. That'll be an awesome time. I am so excited for that.
And I know she's kinda busy because she's planning that Rock Island Paracon that we're doing.
Yes, yes, I've been seeing that. Uh-huh. Paracon was awesome. You know, we were there in Kansas City this year, and that was awesome. That was a great event. I had never been to one. I hope it won't be my last.
Yeah, they're fun to
Um,
do.
yeah, yeah, it was awesome. I mean, we saw a lot of MSP t-shirts and hoodies, and so it was great. And networking with people we hadn't seen in a hot minute, and it was a good event, a good time.
You guys need to come out to the Rock Island Paracon October 4th.
That'd be cool. October, I know the boss is going. Yeah, nobody's going nowhere in October. She got us on lockdown the whole month of October.
Brett Girl asked, "Hi, Jenny, where are we talking about?"
We
She
are
just
talking. We are talking about Missouri State Penitentiary in Jefferson City, Missouri.
Tracy, I'm sure Tracy's heard me brag about it 100 times on podcast here, and Sheila's laughing that you
Yeah.
guys are on lockdown.
See, she's like, yeah, you ain't going nowhere in October. You're out of your mind. Yes, you know that's our biggest monthly, or our biggest draw of the year. So, yeah. I tell you, last October was a blur. I don't even hardly remember it. It was busy. It was busy. I think we hit like 6,000 people in a month going through there, which was amazing. I said it's all about the guests, you know. They're what keep us going and literally not only keep us going the place, but keep us going as individuals, you know. So, love coming in and seeing them all.
Tracy Rizzo said, "I used to live in Jefferson City for 6 months about 20 years ago."
Okay, well, 6 months wasn't long.
No, definitely not.
Nothing's changed. Truthfully, nothing's changed. Nothing ever changes in Jefferson City.
She said she worked for a lawyer.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah,
I know the
it's a nice little town. We like it.
I know the gas chamber's pretty active.
You know, I will be honest. For me personally, I don't get a lot down there now. It might be because I don't like being in the gas chamber. I don't know. It is just a different feel for me. I am very humbled by that little building down there. Um, and in comparison, you know, you got 40 deaths there and you've got thousands, you know, up in the upper area. It isn't the number. it's I mean, they were taken down there. They had no choice in the matter. It is a different feel for me. I will go inside, but I don't tend to spend a lot of time when I go in. But I will tell you this, and this was probably, oh, maybe 4 seasons ago. We were having an event, and myself and a guide, Melanie, we were down there on the gas chamber duty. That was our group, and I was running a spirit box. We were on the viewing side, and there was myself and and she was on the canister side, and we both had guests and just doing some different things. And there were maybe 6 or 8 guests in, and we were all sitting and on the bleachers there, and I was running a spirit box and just asking things. And all of a sudden, this male voice comes across and it very clearly says, "Get out of here."
Mm.
And I didn't realize it, but somebody behind me, one of the guests, was videoing it on their cell phone, so they caught the audio.
Oh, nice.
And it is, I mean, I've only caught in two, I've only caught two EVPs in there in 10 years, that one and then one on death row. And it's a really, really good one, but I just don't get a lot of activity at the gas chamber. I know a lot of people do, but I just don't get a lot down there. Have you gotten some good stuff down
Yeah,
there?
we've gotten stuff, that one team that I was there the first time with from St. Louis, her husband, he just had throat surgery, so he wasn't talking, so him and I both went in the gas chamber and shut the door and ran the spirit box, and we both got told, "Die, bitch."
Oh, wow. Okay. Uh-huh. Well, and I know, there have been people that have gotten references to females down there before.
Mhm.
That one group years and years and years ago that got what we think is probably Bonnie, saying love when they asked what brought her there. And there's a female that says love, and there was only one woman that would have been executed, and that would have been her. So, okay, that's really cool. Again, I don't give it the chance down there,
Right.
because, and that's on me. I guess maybe I should more, but, and when we go down there, you're either it's freezing cold and you can't hardly stand to be down there very long, or it's, you're sweating in the summertime. And the walk up and down, of course, we know is not the greatest, but eh, the gas chamber, it is. To me, I said it's that little bitty building that's sitting down there in that just
Mhm.
big, vast, open. Well, it's not open so much anymore, but open area down there. It just creeped me out. There's no other way to put it for me with the gas chamber. It just creeps me out. Yep. Don't like the gas chamber.
This was a actual picture I caught down in the gas chamber.
Okay.
That was staring at all the signs of the ones that were executed in the gas chamber.
Oh, all right. I'm like, okay, what were you pointing at?
And to me, it kinda looks like a woman. You can see, like, the long
Uh-huh.
hair, and, like, it was trying to form a face that
I was gonna say you can kind of see a mouth, maybe in a
eyes.
chin. Yeah, nose. Okay, and then the hair. Oh, yeah. Actually, even maybe an ear.
I'm
Hmm.
wondering I'm wondering if that was possibly Bonnie.
Well, she was dark hair. She did was
Yeah,
dark haired. Boy, she was an evil person. That woman was just evil.
but, yeah, that's what we captured down there at the gas chamber.
That's cool. I've caught a couple things on the Seer app. I need to use it a little bit more. I haven't used it for a while, so I probably need to try that one again a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, this one is what we use is called the ITC TV box. It
Okay. Okay.
scans white noise like a TV, and then when it picks up an EMF field, it snaps a picture of it.
That's because you got all them fancy gadgets, Russell. That's why. You're tech, and I'm technologically challenged. See, I can't even say the word, let alone know anything about it. Yeah. Okay, that'd be kind of cool. I'd like to see that when you come. You gonna bring
Yes.
that with you?
Yeah, I'll have it with
Okay, cool.
I use that quite a bit. It's also a spirit box, so it scans the white noise and you can hear voices coming.
I love that. Yeah, I'm all about that.
And we'll have some KD Stafford stuff with us too.
Okay, wonderful. I'm excited. I'm excited for June.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good event. I was talking to Rob the other day from Get Haunted about it, and
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Good.
so
I know they're all excited too, so it's going to be a great time.
and I know Nesper said they're coming back. John swore he's gonna come to Missouri State. I said, "You better, the warden's gonna
That's right.
get you."
Tell him the prison boss on there, she'll be the one that'll be getting on to him, Mr. Zaffis. Let's go now. We miss you. It's been a while.
Kim, said we had a great photo capture in the gas chamber. She sent it to you.
Oh, okay, awesome. Send it to me recently?
She said we had a capture in the window of the chamber on the right if you're looking in.
Has Was that something you sent us already, or because I do remember somebody sending a photo of a shadow down in the gas chamber. I don't know if it was hers or if it's one that she has not sent yet, but she needs to send me. Send it to the boss. She always makes sure we get them all.
Right?
She forwards everything. Lets us. She's like, here, you all take a look at these. See what you think, which we love. One of these days, I keep pushing it. One of these days, we're gonna have a way where guests maybe can upload, photos somewhere of things that they capture at the prison, for other folks to look at as well. Yeah.
I did happen to find another one that
Okay.
we caught while we were there. This was actually up in the female ward.
Oh wow. Well, that's clear. Yes, no question. Huh. That almost looks she looks kind of like from the 60s.
Mhm.
She looks very pretty too. Wow, yeah, that's very clear.
Then there was another one which I have it on my phone. I will send it to you. It
Okay.
it was also captured up in the female wing when we were up there, and it was a man's face.
Oh, well, there were men in that unit too.
So, and he didn't look friendly. He looked
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Not friendly, I mean. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, Kim said, "Yep," and then said it was my son's, and we sent it.
I remember that. Yes, I remember that. I'm pretty sure I still have that. We had somebody, I guess, was that last Saturday night? Dee, if you're still on, we went to the west side of Death Row. That's Dee's side, and she took a picture there. Of course, I was in front and the guests were behind me, so there was nobody in front of us at all. And it was, in fact, I think it was that Wednesday night private group, so there was nobody else in the prison at all except for us,
Mm.
period. And she showed it to us later when we got down to the gas chamber, and it is a shadow at the end of that walk on Death Row, and it's kind of, leaning out of the cell a little bit, like it's just kind of peeking out. And, she just got lucky when she hit that button and caught it. And it's even casting like a shadow on the floor. And it was funny when we first went in, I noticed that, there are windows on Death
Yep.
Row where the light shines in, and you could see the light shining in on the floor for like the first three sets of windows, but then at the back, the floor was dark. And I actually said, okay, so why can't you see the light, on the floor through the windows that are in the very back? And then she comes up with this picture later on, and there's that big shadow down there. And it's like, oh, wow, okay, maybe that's why you couldn't see the light on the floor. I don't know. Very weird, very cool. Yes.
Diane said West Side.
West Side girl, you know. I've been venturing over there a little bit this year, doing it a little different, you know. I know, Diane ain't going over there anymore, so I gotta make sure I still go over and show them a little love on that side every now and then.
Well, I remember when she was giving us our tour, and she had just given a tour just before our overnight started, and she was telling us about how she got vertigo from 3D.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She wouldn't take us back down there. She showed us the top of the stairs, and that's
Yeah, and there it is. Yeah, there we ain't not going down. That's the buddy system. We tell people all the time. I am not going down there by myself. I'm not. I have told people I don't care. I have two daughters that I love more than anything, but if they were calling my name at the bottom of them stairs, I'm not going down there. I'm just not. Not alone. Something
I mean,
something different.
I can
Something
see why
down there.
that energy is a little different there.
It is most definitely different down there. I mean it, and you can immediately tell it when you get about halfway down those stairs. It's a totally different feeling down there. I told people last night the dungeon doesn't even really bother me. The way it does down on 3D. I'll tell you the other place that bothers me, and it sounds so funny when it's time to be done, like if we've had a hunt, we gotta kick the lights back on in 1 and 3 because we've turned them off. Going upstairs into housing unit 1 by yourself in at like 3 o'clock in the morning in the female department. I said one night out loud something like, I don't like going up here. And Lisa, and she's like, okay, I thought I was the only one. I said, no, there is something about that housing unit at the end of the night when you go up in there to turn them lights on that it is just completely different than any other time
Right.
that you go up there. I don't know why, but it is. So, yes.
Which is kinda weird because when we were up there, it was quiet, but we captured those 2 pictures, but that was about it, and then it just
Uh-huh.
settled right down and went eerily quiet. We even tried music,
Mhm.
that didn't even work.
One is that building that it's either completely dead or it is lit. There just is no in between with Housing Unit 1. Again, that's my own opinion. Death row is you can almost always count on a little something going on. Same thing in the dungeon. You can always bet you're going to get something. One, it can just go either way. And maybe it's because they're female. I don't know.
Right. Well, that's
They're like, we're going to play this by our rules. So, yeah. Yeah, but love Housing Unit 1.
that's even when
I
we were
hope people start going up in there. I'm gonna try to start, encouraging people to start going up in there a little bit more often. Everybody wants, immediately death row and
yep.
the dungeon and they tend to forget about all the other spots. Even me, I say I never go upstairs in 3. I hardly ever go upstairs in 3 and it's huge up there. And there's just as much stuff going on up there
Oh,
as
yeah.
there is downstairs in 3D. We just don't think about it because everybody thinks you got to go down into the darkest locations, and that's just not always the case.
We even hit those side rooms that are in 3.
Uh-huh. Yes,
A lot of people miss those too, and I mean, we've gotten activity in those side rooms off.
absolutely. I mean, you just never know in there where you're going to have something happen.
Kim said a pack of cigarettes got them going in housing unit 1 for us.
Okay, I've got several things with cigarettes in Housing Unit 1. Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't know if it's the ladies that like the cigarettes in there or the men. I don't know. But cigarettes in Housing Unit 1 is an awesome trigger. They just respond. Absolutely.
Uh, Tracy Rizzo said, "I've caught a ton in lit areas and nothing in darker areas."
See, I say the same, and I tell people too all the time. I'm over there in the daytime sometimes, quite a lot. Some more seasons than others, just depending on what's going on. I have had some of the biggest freakiest experiences ever in broad daylight over there. I mean, there was one morning, I'll just backstory. I locked my keys in my car up in there on a Saturday night, and it was a hot night, and it was a busy night, and I was done, and I just walked home. I lived close by, and I thought, I'll just get my car tomorrow. And I came back over on a next morning is Sunday. I get up at like 8 o'clock. I walk over, I let myself in. I'm the only one in there. Go in that lobby. I'm telling you, that lobby. And I heard more noises in that lobby area than I had ever heard, that I actually ended up going out the front door. I had to call a tow, to come and get me an unlock. I went out front and waited, because I that was how uneasy I felt being in there listening to everything I was hearing on a Sunday morning at
Right.
8:30. I mean, but hey, that's probably, again, it's when they're up and moving, see? So you just never know. Do not ever underestimate it, no matter what time of the day or the night.
Right. And not many people realize too, there was an actual horror movie filmed in that in Cell House 3.
Yes, yes,
Haunting
uh-huh.
Cell Block 11.
Haunting of yes, I actually have it on DVD. And then there was actually another one many years ago, and that was The Hoodlum Priest. And it was about a real priest, I think, out of St. Louis, Missouri,
Mhm.
that was, a priest to the inmates, and ministered to them, and helped them. And they filmed it, part of it down here too. Yep, there it is. Yes, a lot of it is just darkness. Have you watched it?
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of it's just dark. There's really nothing there, but it's a good movie. It's a good
Yeah,
movie.
it came out especially when they made that psychic possessed in the movie
Yeah.
in prison, and he threw himself over the rail and hung himself.
Yeah, when it first came out, when I first started working there, we sold that DVD in the gift shop. Uh-huh. That was a pretty hot item for a while.
Yeah,
I got
it's a pretty good movie.
uh-huh, I got mine off Amazon several years ago. I was like, I need to get that movie. Why don't I have it? So they actually had it on Amazon, so I bought it. I got the Hoodlum Priest too. I watched it. It's from like the 1940s, I think, maybe, or so, 50s, something like that. Yeah. It's pretty good too, actually. Good story.
Yeah. Tracy asked what was the first movie she mentioned before The Priest. That was, Haunting Cell Block 11.
The Haunting of Cell Block 11. Yeah.
It'll be that it'll look just like that, Tracy, the cover of it.
I bet you could even get it like on Amazon Prime or
Yeah,
whatever and watch
it's
it.
on Amazon, it's on Tubi.
Oh, okay. Is it really?
Yep.
Oh, wow. I might have to watch it. Okay, that's cool. It is actually a decent movie. I mean, it's your basic B-rated horror flick, but
Yeah,
most horror flicks are B-rated. So, yeah. Yeah. It's really cool though when you get to see things and you're like, "Wow, I recognize that," when they come up over and you get housing unit 3 and it's like from an aerial view, that is a sight to see.
and I wonder how much activity that movie actually kicked up because they're replaying the ghostly events.
Mhm. I have wondered that too. We actually had a little short uh film piece that was filmed in the prison last summer. Um And I wondered about that with it because it was actually a movie that it was prison based, and so you had men in there, and there were probably 100 or more extras that were dressed in prison attire, and they actually had a full fight scene in the upper yard up there in between the housing units, and I wondered then, it was like, wow, I wonder what the guys think about this, if it's gonna kick anything up. And maybe that was, I never thought about that when you now that you say that. Maybe that was part of what got things cooking toward the end of the year. I had actually forgotten about that. So maybe it was a combination of the movie piece and then the demolition.
Yep,
Huh.
because that's like the Conjuring movies. they had to bless everybody on set.
Oh, I believe that.
So
Yeah. I mean, well, anytime you're riling up isn't really the word I want to use, but it does kick things up, when you're doing those kinds of things in there. It does. There's no question.
and even when Dan was doing his Estes down in the dungeon down there,
Uh-huh.
he was getting the objects upstairs
Okay.
coming through.
Yes.
They were calling his name, and they did not like him.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know about that.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, they were calling his name, and he says, "Yeah, I'm picking up the objects upstairs." And each question he asked, it would come out his name, and then it pick up cell 21 because
Okay.
they had the stuff, and
Uh-huh.
then he was picking up also that man from that spirit from cell 21 that was angry.
Yeah, I wonder what he was so angry about. It's hard to say.
He didn't wanna be bothered with everybody in there.
I say he just didn't like what was happening in there. He was probably an old head. He was crotchety and
Yep. When
mm-hmm.
Wade was, talking to us about the museum items, Wade kept watching me, I kept looking up in the upper catwalks off to the side, I kept watching something up there, and Wade goes, "You see something up there?" And I showed my dad looked up there, and my dad seen it, and I said, "Yeah, there's a man pacing back and forth up there."
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "Yeah, that's the man from cell 21, he's not happy."
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, he was pacing because it was making him nervous. It was
Yep.
making him nervous what was going on. Yeah.
But we seen 6 grown men run out of the dungeon when we were on free roam,
Oh,
they
wow.
with us when we started channeling and doing the S
Mhm, mhm. Well,
and
I tell you, we've been seeing things up on them catwalks, a lot lately. Just movement up there. I noticed it last night, during the tour, and I tell people too, I don't know, maybe it's just my eyes, maybe you're catching, light in the glasses or whatever, but I just don't think so.
yeah.
Um, it has just, I said, it has really kicked up in there starting last fall. The end of the season last season, and so far this season. So I just hope it just keeps on going that way.
I think it will. I mean, more and more teams are coming in.
Agreed. I agreed. And we've got some good groups coming in this year, and that's going to help. That's going to help when you get them in there. So yeah, great energy.
A lot of people ask me too because they've known we've done it twice, where
Hmm.
are the hot spots, and I'm like, "That place, you do have to think outside the box."
You
I mean,
do.
you hear everybody goes like you were saying, everybody goes to death row, they go to
Hmm.
PE, they do this. I said, "There's other areas of that prison that gets left alone that nobody goes
That
into."
nobody ever even, and I tell you, it can just be a corner somewhere or off in in a little, like you said, in the little side rooms that are at the bottom of the stairs. They're in three. You just don't ever know where you're going to catch somebody because they were everywhere in there. I mean, that was like a roaming prison, they were always moving around. It wasn't where they were contained and inside and they could get to everywhere without having to go outside of the buildings because that's just not the way it was. I mean, they were always outside. So I tell people that all the time. In fact, most of their activity was daytime, their movements. At nighttime, that's when they were locked down. So yeah.
And do people actually ever investigate the yard out back there?
Again, when we did not have housing unit 3 there for that, I don't remember exactly, probably month and a half or so last fall, I brought that up too. And we started doing that for the first time. I said, there's nothing out there now, but there used to be a chapel at the end of that sidewalk, and there were some viciously violent attacks in that chapel. And so I'm like, we've never thought, let's just go set out on the sidewalk, with some equipment. And so we started doing that, and guests started doing it. So I'm like, yeah, keep on doing that.
Yeah. 'cause that
You
energy is trapped right
it's
there.
anywhere, I tell you, and if Diane's on, she'll remember this. When the tornado happened, and there was a very brief time that we were completely shut down. We weren't running at all. And she and myself and James Barker, it was like a Friday or a Saturday night, and we were missing it. And we took some equipment and just went up and set up on the front steps of Housing Unit 1 and, ran equipment
Mhm.
outside, and talked to them. So yeah, again, I'm gonna try real hard this year to get people to think even more outside the box there than they ever have. And again, just use your own senses a
Yep.
little bit more, get in tune to it, and hopefully good things will happen. So yeah,
Uh, Tim said the tower down behind the gas chamber had some interesting shadows.
the tower behind the gas chamber,
Yep.
you mean when you look up in it? Yeah, well, uh-huh. Um, those towers, I would love to have been able to get access to one of those, at some point. But most of them are just in too bad of shape. And I will just tell you that with the development down there, a couple of them down below down there have been taken down with the wall. Now they were in, again, bad shape, but um, yeah, I've never thought about that. See, I've never watching that guard tower and seeing if you could see somebody, pacing around up in there. That's actually a good idea. Darn. Okay. I like that. I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah. Diane said facts windy.
Yes. Yeah, we kept asking them if they knew what had happened, with the tornado. Like, do you know? Do you know what happened? And we probably sat up there for an hour, hour and a half, and it was like, okay, we got to go. And I was like, okay, I'm going to ask one more time, do you know what happened? And bigger than anything came right back out. Yep, they knew. Windy. It sure was. See, they know. They're intelligent.
Tim said yes, 3 guards.
Okay, very cool.
One was walking, 2 in a booth. We stood in the pavement looking up. Would love to hover a drone.
Okay, I tell you, people ask about the drones. Problem is that federal courthouse building in the cul-de-sac. Yeah, you're in federal airspace, and so you got to get permits. There, people have done it. We have a local guy. In fact, he calls himself Mr. Jeff City, and he flew a drone over, and the video footage from a drone over that place is incredible. It really is. But yeah, the guards up in the guard tower, that's kind of cool. I wish I'd have thought about that sooner.
Yeah, that would be neat to fly a drone over there, especially
Yes, it would.
even a night vision or full spectrum,
Yes.
because that's what we use quite a bit. We use the full spectrum stuff.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Night vision picks up too much dust, so we use a lot of
Right.
pilot stuff.
Yes.
Kim said that's a big bummer. The view would be spectacular.
It is. Yeah. I said there's a couple videos out there. You can probably find Mr. Jeff Cities on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it's out there, and it is really cool. But yeah, we'll have people all the time, that can, even teams coming, can we fly a drone? Not unless you called, the proper people before you came. Yeah, because that's not, I'm pretty sure if you put one up in the air, there'd be a car pulling in out there pretty darn quick. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure,
Yeah.
because they don't want that view of that courthouse in their video.
No, not at all. Uh-uh. Not at all.
What they should have did was taken that courthouse and put it uptown somewhere instead of down in there.
Well, the problem is along that river, there's just not a lot of empty space. They could tear something, old things down or whatever down in there. But yeah, there's just not a lot of empty space between there and the Capitol. It's just pretty full in that short amount of mileage there. Yeah. Changes are happening
Yep.
in the downtown area, so we'll see how all that comes about and changes as we go.
Did Wade tell you when you took that selfie with the movie Annabelle doll, did you know that was the actual chair that the real Annabelle doll sat in?
No, he didn't tell me that, Mr.
Yeah,
Kirby.
that's the actual Annabelle chair that Annabelle sat in when Ed and Lorraine brought her home.
Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Now, when I
But
took a
then you're like, oh God, did I get it on me?
I took a picture selfie with the Annabelle movie doll, and you see coming out the right side, you see a fist closed, and it's just Annabelle in the chair. And then when I take the selfie, you see the hands opened
I
up
think you showed me that.
to you. Yeah,
Yes, I think you showed me that. Well, I'm sorry. I think that Annabelle doll being there, that was just the coolest thing ever for me. It's like, I just that's cool stuff. That's
yeah, that
cool
was
stuff.
the Annabelle Comes Home doll.
Yes, yes. She's creepy.
You,
No, I did not know about the chair. He failed to tell me that little tidbit of information. Yes.
yeah, that was the actual chair that Annabelle sat in there.
Okay, that's very cool.
Nancy,
Very cool.
Nancy says hello,
Hello.
and I said, Russell, that's naughty.
Hey, you know,
But yeah, that was the actual chair.
all right.
Wait till you get to meet the real Annabelle.
I would do that. I just won't get too close. So,
Oh, they keep her roped off.
I know. Be like, uh-huh. Yeah, I actually, was planning to go to Vegas in February, and I was going to go to Begin's
Oh, Zach Bagans.
museum, yeah,
Yeah.
and check all his stuff out. I didn't end up getting to go, so I was kind of bummed. But I wanted to go and see all of his stuff because I know he's got some
Did
cool
you
stuff
see
too.
his newest one?
What?
He got the Exorcism box from the Exorcism.
Oh, I
He
had
wrote.
heard about that. I had heard about that. Okay.
He bought that
Okay.
off Christopher Saint Booth.
Oh, wow. Okay. I don't know if I'd want anything like that. I mean, I know he can lock it up and put it behind glass and all those kinds of things, but still, that's bad mojo right there. That's
Well,
too real. That's too real.
hopefully, when if Nesper does come back out to the prison and bring the objects, they bring my haunted dolls with them.
That'd be cool. See,
I'm gonna
Reese, the other guy, she would not even come in to housing unit 4. She's like, I do not do dolls of any kind. So she never even went in. I didn't even realize it. I took that group photo of all of us inside 4, and it dawned on me after I was looking at it, and I'm like, where was Reese? And she's like, I didn't even come in there. She's like, I don't do dolls. And I went, oh, okay. I didn't even know. I'm sorry. She's like, yeah, no, that's a big no for me. And I'm over here like, yes, I got my arm around her, and yeah, it was all fine. That
yeah,
was pretty awesome.
doll doesn't have anything attached to it, but I think that chair does.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. That's all right. I'll just forget you told me that. It'll be all right. I'll just put that out of my head.
Nancy says when Russell says, do you want to see something really, really scary? Say no.
It's too late. It's too late. I already said yes. Before, more than once. It's too late.
I've already got accused on this show about when I have new investigators on that I like to scare the shit out of them with stuff, and,
Well, I've seen nothing wrong with that.
hey, it opens their eyes. It's more educational than anything than
Exactly.
scaring.
It's exactly right. Exactly. Educational. Go with that.
Well, hopefully when they come out, they'll bring the real Annabelle with them because 'cause they're traveling with her this year. They're going cross country with her this
I
year.
know. I know. We'd love to have them back. That would be really cool. Really cool.
They were talking about it, and I'll work on Dan. I'll work
All
on
right. Do
on
it. Do it. That'd be awesome.
we're gonna be in Gettysburg with them this year, so
Gettysburg. I'd love to go there sometime.
if you
That will be cool.
it's a must see. We did it
Yes.
in September at the Warrens Paracon, got to check out the battlefields. You'll get paranormal
So
activity
neat.
during the day in the battlefields out there.
Yeah. That would be so cool.
I got activity up on Devil's Den. I walked the whole thing by myself, and you can hear in the audio. If you go on my Facebook page, my personal page, and look in the
Uh-huh.
videos, you'll see where I was live from Devil's Den, and you'll actually hear in the audio, you'll hear boots marching with me.
Oh, wow.
It's
Yes.
something.
See, that just gives me goosebumps. That's cool. Yep. I am going to get there at some point. That is probably in my top 2 spots that I'd like to get to sometime. So, I'll keep hoping.
Yeah, Nancy says you do to me about scaring. But yeah, Gettysburg's an awesome place. We did the Jenny Wade house. We investigated the orphanage. I,
Yeah, there'd be a lot in that area.
I'll send you a picture. I caught
Okay.
Jenny Wade in the mirror.
Okay, cool. Send it to me.
I was just taking a selfie in the mirror, and her face popped up in the bottom corner of the mirror.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I don't like mirrors, man.
My dad got to see her. He stayed down where she was shot and killed.
Uh-huh.
He got to see her come walking through there.
Oh, no. Wow. Yeah, see, your dad just picks up on that kind of stuff
Oh
too.
yeah,
So,
he
you
does.
know, yeah. Yeah, that mirror stuff, I don't do them mirrors. I don't like that.
Yeah,
You don't know what you're going to see in there.
there's a lot of people that do that mirror scrying.
Uh-uh.
I've done it, and I watched my face change, and my chin got real like pointy and
Yeah,
real dark and evil looking. And
I don't want no part of that. And I think, maybe sometimes maybe that's just in our head, but I don't care. I don't know. Mirrors are a big no for me.
well, they believe mirrors are portals, so
Exactly. I mean, yes, of some sort. Yeah, I believe that completely.
because we
They're always in the showers at the prison. It's like, nope, I don't go in the showers very often because it's like, I ain't looking in the mirror.
right.
Mm-mm. No.
We captured something coming out of a mirror in somebody's house before
Uh-huh.
camera, so
Yeah, see, yeah, don't want any part of that.
my dad got to watch that on our DVR camera. It come out of the mirror and was standing right above me,
Wow.
and that was actually a darker demonic entity that came.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you don't even know what you're messing with there. You just don't know what might manifest from that.
Jim Amert says, "I have dolls that live with spirits in them. Love them, take care of them with energy from Boo Buddy Jr. 9-volt battery."
Yeah. Yeah. Dolls don't bother me. I like them. But mirrors are a no. Maybe
You
I
just
could hold a doll in the mirror. I don't know.
whatever you do, just don't hold it close to your heart.
Right. Well, I just don't want, I don't know. I guess it's that fear of what, I don't even think it's the fear of what might be looking back at me. I think it's the fear of seeing your true reflection. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You, and you may not like what you really see. I don't know. Yeah. Now, a regular mirror in your house, that's a different story. But when you're in any kind of a, no, mirrors just, yeah, they have too many dimensions.
Yeah, I don't do mirrors very much. I'm not much in that. I tried it once at mirror scrying, and that was enough for me. I don't.
Yeah, that'd be like a one and done thing. I would never try that. I don't think I could get myself to do it. But if I ever did, it most certainly would be only one time.
We were
That
in a
would be enough.
client's house, and I was standing there, and I was just investigating, and I was right in line with the mirror, and I happened to flip over to the mirror, and it was like my whole body just changed. It looked like I'd blown
Hmm.
up like I was a bigger guy, and
Yeah. I said I think mirrors are they're They're multi-dimensional, and you don't know what are in those other dimensions. Yeah.
especially with them being
You don't even really know what dimension we're really actually even in. You know what I'm saying? Now we're getting deep and we're going down a rat hole here, but you
yeah,
know what I mean. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the ones in the prison area, them inmates constantly looked at it. So,
Yes.
you never know, if
Yes.
you look in that mirror, you might see one of the inmates looking back at you.
And I say, I just don't want to even know what I might see in the reflection. Don't want to see it. Yeah.
I might, when I come there, just snap a picture,
Oh, now that would be cool. I
see
hadn't thought about that. We could
yeah,
do that. Just take picture and see what we get.
see what comes out in there.
Okay, we'll try that. That's a good idea.
You never know, we might capture a face in it.
I say that'd be a good idea. We'll give that a try.
Yeah, that'd be definitely a good experiment to try.
Hadn't done that. I've never done that. I don't know if anybody has in there.
I don't think so. I
No.
haven't seen anything posted that where anybody has done anything like that.
Uh-uh.
So
Okay, we'll
any
have to
team
remember
thought,
that.
there's a little trick for you. Try it.
There you go. There's something new.
We
We'll
all,
give it a go.
then we all can compare evidence and see if we
That's
all have
right. See
the same.
what we get in the reflections. We could try it in different mirrors in different spots.
Yeah,
All right, we'll do that. That's a good experiment.
yeah,
I like it.
definitely be good. Just
I
don't
like it.
just don't put your flash on.
No.
Which I've got my Ghost Pro camera that's full spectrum. So it
Okay.
doesn't do a flash. It also does still shots. It's a modified GoPro.
Oh, all right.
So
All right.
we'll do an ultraviolet picture.
Okay, yeah, we need to do that for sure. That actually is a good idea. That's a good little experiment. All
I'll
right.
see if I can borrow my buddy's 3D digital camera.
Oh, that'd be even better. Yeah, that'd be even better. Okay, it's on, dude.
Yeah, we'll definitely do something like that.
Okay, it is on. We'll do it in June.
Yeah, we'll try that. I'm sure Rob
Okay,
would be interested in that too. I think
absolutely.
next to Ken will be. That's
Okay.
coming out too, I believe.
Yes, I'm almost positive I've seen them on the schedule. Almost positive. So, yeah.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. I enjoyed investigating 3D with Dom and Joe.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Dom wouldn't stay still though. We kept getting activity. We'd be down by the other cells towards the shower down there, and we had equipment setting up the hallway they did, and it kept going off. And Dom wouldn't stay still. He kept running up there, and we're like, "Dom, stay still." So we left the rest of them investigating right there, and so we went up ahead up where the other equipment was, and it was going off because we kept watching where the stairs come down. Somebody kept peeking around the corner at us.
Oh, okay.
And I showed Dom, I said, "Dom, just stay still, just sit right here for a second.
Yeah, just
Look straight up
watch.
there." And sure enough, there goes that shadow peeking around at him.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
they captured one of the, ladies, I think her name was Julie, that was with us in our group. She captured a picture of the woman in front of the cell, standing next
Okay.
to her. When we asked if we could take a picture of her, if she'd show up in the picture, and she did.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I decided this year I'm going to try to take more pictures too. See if I can, because I don't ever take pictures. I mean, I take them if I'm in there just walking around, but I don't do them on investigations. Just snap pictures. Need to do that more often. I bought a camera. Was that last year, year before? Digital, which I haven't had a camera in. I couldn't even tell you when. Bought it for a purpose, and I thought, okay, well, I'll start taking that in there too and seeing
Yep.
if we can catch anything on it. So
If
I'm
you
gonna try that.
if you go on my YouTube channel, Beyond Life Paranormal, research the Missouri edition, I put
Okay.
a whole video together, and it's got some of our clips from Missouri State, and
Okay.
it's got the audio from the dungeon where you can hear the woman yell hello when we were starting off.
All right. I'll check it out.
It's also got a video of us at Waverly Hill Sanatorium also.
That's number one on my list. I got to get there at some
It's
point.
it's definitely a must.
I've got to see the body shoot. I just have to see it. I have got to walk that one time.
I've done it.
I know, I have to.
Do it at 3 in the morning. That's
Okay, well,
that's
you
the
know.
Beverly Hills challenge.
Okay, is that's oh easy. Well, I do 3D at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's fine.
Yep. It everybody gets freaked out about the body shoot. For us, it wasn't, but we did capture a shadow, filled the whole body shoot, and each picture it kept getting closer and closer to us.
Oh wow.
And
Oh
then
wow.
we heard
Yeah,
the
and
teeth
see,
shut.
for me, it's not I just need to walk that body shoot. It's that thing that's in us that we have just got to do it. Yeah. I'll get there one day. It may be going up and down in a wheelchair, but I'm going to get there. I'm telling you. It's going to
If
happen.
if we go back, I'll send you an
That's
invite.
right. Let
Uh,
me know. That's right. I am there. I will pack a bag.
yeah, that place is awesome. We'd have to do it for 2 nights because you cannot. We did it for 1 night. You can't cover
Not
that
enough.
1 night.
Yeah, no way. Yeah. I do too. Dee will come. She'll be down.
I've got a lot of personal experiences out of there. I got pinned to a surgery table in Waverly.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We were doing role playing and I was playing like I was sick, like we needed a doctor, and I was wheeled under the light, and about the same time the motion light in the doorway came on
Oh, yes.
when one of the members were yelling for a doctor. And we heard a noise and I went to sit up and I could not move. My legs were being restrained, my
Hmm.
arms, my chest was like being pressed like this, like,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I can't move. And then we hear 2 high pitched female screams in the hallway right outside.
Oh, yeah.
And we were with another team, and I told my one member at the time, I was like, text that other team, find out where they're at. They're up on the 5th floor outside of the crazy ward of Waverly on the roof doing an Estes method.
Huh.
And then walking back, we had a figure come running directly at us down the hallway, runs right in between us and disappears.
Oh, wow.
And it was cold
Yeah.
enough you could feel the breeze from it when it come past.
Oh, yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Yep. I'm going to get there at some point.
The
Gonna
man
make, gotta make it happen.
the man on the first floor lobby, he's not friendly.
Oh, okay.
He will cuss at you.
Okay.
He cussed at me, he cussed at the other team too. We were all sitting around the table doing a spirit box session, and he, we had a skeptic asking questions, and he didn't like that skeptic. He called him a dumb bitch,
Oh my. Mm-hmm.
and so it the girl next to me started asking questions, and it said, "Shut up, you bitch."
Oh my.
So
Well,
then
he is just he is not a
oh,
nice
yeah, he's
person.
not a nice person, and then
No.
we had a on the table, a K2 meter, my Mel with REM pod, another K2 meter, and every one of them were going off in sync with each other, back and
Mm-hmm.
forth. And then one of my members at the time asked, "Do you like Russell?" "No, he's an asshole."
Oh, well, they tell me to shut up and call me annoying at the prison. Oh, they called me annoying last weekend. It came across and everybody, I'm like, yep, it happens all the time. Yep.
Yeah, I started laughing, the other team's like, "What are you laughing about?" And my member says, "Oh, that's a reoccurring joke with us. He always gets called an
Yep.
ass."
See, that's me. I've got the same. Yep.
The morgue also, the other challenge is the morgue. You have to slide in the morgue slab
Oh, I don't know if I could do that. Oh, did
and lay
you?
in. Oh, yeah, and
Oh,
you have to lay in there for 15 minutes.
I don't know if I could do that. I could get in it and lay in it for a minute, but I don't know if I could let them put me in there that long.
The door is off of it, so they don't
Oh, okay. Well, that's not so
so
bad. You're
you'll be
not
alright.
shut in it then.
But most of the ones, they all slid in feet first. I went in head first,
Head
like, they would
first.
slide a body in there,
Oh, yeah, no. I'd have to go feet first so my head stick out the out. Yeah. Yeah.
and I had a K2 meter sitting here and my Mel with REM pod sitting on my chest, and it we had a Boo Bear sitting on one of the embalming tables, and they were just going crazy, and I was in there by myself, my member stayed out in the hallway
Yeah, no.
'cause our
Uh-uh.
tour guide, he's like, the challenge is you lay in there for 15 minutes." I says, "I'll do you one better, I'll lay in there for 2 hours."
I say, what do you get for after you get in? What's the prize? You get
There's
something?
there's no prize, it's just
Oh,
and they're watching you the whole time on the security camera.
oh, I bet
You
they
you
are.
actually do it.
That's probably that's their favorite part of the whole night is getting to watch people try to do that, you know.
Oh, yeah, and they watch you, and he watched me do it, and I stayed right in there. I was even live too, I went live on TikTok on there.
That'd be good, yeah.
People are like, "It's too dark." I said, "I'm laying in a refrigerator on a morgue slab."
Yeah, of course it's dark. It's supposed
Like,
to be.
I want you to see what I'm seeing,
That's right. Wow. No, I would not. I don't know. Maybe just for a few seconds, and then I'd have to get out.
'cause I wanna take my dad there. He didn't get to go when we went, so
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
he's actually watching right now too. He's been
Hey, Dad. He out there. We'll see you in June too.
Yep, he'll be there.
All right. Awesome.
Well, we got a few minutes left. If anybody's got any more questions for Jenny, feel free to post them up in the chat.
Well, and I hope everybody can maybe make it out to see us. And I said, now that we've got everything open and available again, and a couple of new spots as well. So,
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome, especially the
yeah,
areas that are open now.
can't wait for you to get into those. Yes.
Did they have like a mental wing for the females too, or
They
something?
did. Well, I mean, I say they didn't. I I know they had a dining area for women. Women didn't get a whole lot of medical care, in there. The men did, but the women didn't. I mean, I'm sure they had something for them, but nothing like the psych ward was that they had in that hospital for the
Linda
men.
Linda
Hmm.
Scott said she will be there in May.
Oh, wonderful! May is the perfect weather month. Yes, good. Look forward to seeing you.
I know Epic VIP events and Mysterious Mike and Sam are planning an event there. I know that.
Yes, I saw them on the calendar as well, and Wraith Chasers, they'll be back again, and I think they're coming in September this year. So they're on the calendar. So yep, it's turning out like I said. I think this is going to be one of our best seasons we've had in a long time for a lot of reasons. So yeah, looking forward to it.
I love investigating with Mysterious Mike and Sam.
Um, I don't know if I have met them before. Have I? I don't know.
He's an older gentleman, got a good sense of humor.
I guess I'll know when I see him. If I have or not, I'm not sure.
Look up on Facebook,
I'll
Epic
look him up.
VIP events.
I'll look him up. Yeah. The name, I mean, I know the names, but I'm not sure if have they been there before?
Oh yeah, they've been there.
Okay, then I'm sure
They were
I've met him.
they were there last year with EVP.
Okay, okay. All right, I'll have to look, see what they look like. I'm sure that'll remind me when I see. I'm old, I don't remember things as well.
We did that Estes method with the haunted doll at that Paracon in September, and Sam was under Estes, so was Leah from L&M,
Okay,
and Mike went up
okay.
there to count him out of Estes, and that doll was telling Mike to shut up, and he'd go to count down from 10, and the doll would say 2.
Oh, all
She
right.
That doll didn't want no more.
We done. Done with that.
That
10
doll
to going from 10 to 2, right?
that doll was actually taken out of a blind lady's house with a bunch of the other dolls.
Oh, wow.
That doll has a demonic entity attached to it. It's not
Yeah.
The rest of them did too. The rest of them are Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum. That's where the rest of them are.
And that's where they need to be.
And that doll made the whole room go dark.
Oh, wow.
And the sun's out, there's no cloud in the sky, and this we're in the
And the room is dark. Wow. That's crazy.
Mike and Sam's table was next to yours at the Missouri Paracon.
Oh,
They had the
yes.
Estes chamber.
Yes, of course. Okay, yeah, Mike. Yeah, spiky hair. Got
Yep,
it.
yep.
Yes. They had what was their Estes guy? They had the big
Yeah,
styrofoam.
yeah,
They had a name for him.
yep.
Can't remember what they called him. Oh, yes. Yeah, yes, they're coming. That's right. He told me that day. All right, I know who you're talking about now. Thank you for that information there. See?
Yeah, Linda follows them. She follows us.
Awesome.
Got the link, and I got to meet Linda.
Okay, wonderful. All right, yep, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, they're awesome people.
Yes, they
enjoy
are.
Mike's hilarious. He's got
He is, yes.
I met him at Metacon a few years ago, and that's where I first met Mike and Sam.
Okay, okay.
Mike was stealing carts, moving them around, and I was
Oh my
like,
God.
"Mike, you supposed to be doing that?"
That sounds like something exactly that he would do. He is always a good time, see?
And then we were at that Paracon in St. Joe, 2 Paracons in St. Joe together, and we were giving each other static. And
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, they had a popular table with the Estes guy. Yeah, at Paracon.
yeah,
That
they
was good.
they do pretty good with that Estes chamber. A lot of people love to
Uh-huh. Well,
experience.
a lot of people like the Estes method. I mean, I do. It's one of my favorite things to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. But Mike actually taught us something. You do a countdown for the spirits, and it puts pressure on the spirits
Oh, okay. All right.
to get them to say their last words, and you pull people out after 15 minutes, so it's not
Okay.
physically demanding on their bodies. That
Right, right.
yeah. My member Jen, she likes to go in Estes and do it for over an hour, and
No, that too much.
he it drains
That'd be
her.
too much. That would be too much for me.
But a lot of people do it when they're getting activity, they don't wanna quit.
Exactly.
And Jen, I remember Jen, she's my lead investigator. I don't know if you ever met
I'm
Jen
not
Durrell.
sure.
Jen Durrell. I'm she'll come to the prison with us. I'm getting her to
Okay, good. Good.
so,
Good. I'll meet her then.
yep. She's she's a good investigator.
Good.
So we're closing to the end of the show. How can people get a hold of you guys that want to book tours and overnight?
All of our information, prices, calendar, is on our website, and that's www.missouripintours.com.
Which I just put it up on the screen. Diane just posted it.
Awesome, D. Thank you, girl.
Yeah, everybody, make sure you definitely get out to Missouri State Penitentiary. It's definitely you won't go wrong investigating there. You new investigators, do not do the overnight. Do the ghost tours until you get the experience.
Build up to
Yep.
it. Yep.
You don't want to do the 8 hour overnight if you're not used to it
You need to be seasoned to do that one. Yeah.
because things will mess with you if you're new in there.
Yes, they will. If you can even make it the whole 8 hours, there's the kick right there.
Yep. So we're gonna get ready to close the show out. If you want to hang out for a minute, and I'll be with you in a minute.
All right.
So thank you everybody for joining me tonight. We will see you next week. I have an author on next week that wrote the book on the most haunted house in Connecticut. So be sure to tune in next week with him. That's going to be a good show, and he's going to explain all the haunted history. So everybody stay humble, stay safe out there. Have a good night, and make sure you definitely go check out Missouri State Penitentiary. Reach out to them. They're a bunch of great people. They'll lead you on your tours and your ghost hunts, and you'll never go wrong with them, especially with Diane. Everybody at their staff, they're awesome people. So be sure to go check out Missouri State Penitentiary, even if it's just a day tour. All right, we will see you next week. we're off.